Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Reach Podcast Show, where every show reaches beyond the ears of the listeners. And today we are live in the studio with our guest this morning, and we have a magnificent show set up for you. So I want to give her a chance to introduce herself. So just tell my listeners and everybody who you are.
Hi, how are you guys doing? I'm Shantell Coleman, and I am the owner of Crying Shame Janitorial Cleaning Services.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just want to say thank you for coming into the show this
Thank you
morning.
for having me.
Absolutely. And this is the Black series, the Excellence in Black Business interview series. And she is the next guest. We're going to learn all about Crying Shame Janitorial Services, why she started that, why is it important to her, just everything that we need to know so that we can get acquainted with her and her business. And then there's a host of other things that this young lady is doing that we'll talk about as well. So, right now, what I like to do in the beginning is just talk about the times, and so with everything that's going on, I always like to say, prayers up to everybody who's been dealing with the COVID, which includes everybody. But for those people who have been affected directly, if you've had someone being affected by it, if you've lost someone by it, prayers and concerns go out to you and your family. And then, of course, all the things we're dealing with in regards to just the social injustices, just the killings that have been happening, and all the protests and even the pray test. Shout out to my man Bobby Heron on the pray test, which is something different. Is getting people more focused on understanding that prayer is never going to change and prayer helps everything. So, shout out to those people who were involved in that. But just moving forward, Miss Shantell, welcome to the Reach Podcast. Thank you for coming in. And so I just like to jump into it and just tell us, what was the thing that made you want to start up, your company?
Oh, wow. Well, in September of 2018, my mother started having some complications with her heart. And I was trying to think of what is it that I can do that I can kind of incorporate her um, that I know how to do. So I started cleaning.
Okay.
My grandmother cleaned for years. My mother cleaned. My aunties cleaned. And one of the biggest things was The Help. I watched the movie The Help.
The Help, yeah.
And it kind of brought back memories of, just generations of people cleaning.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to break this generational curse, and I'm not going to clean. I'm going to start a cleaning business.
Start a business, yeah.
So I started doing research, reading different books, YouTubing, and I just started.
And here you are.
I told my mom, and I told one of my friends, I was like, I'm going to start a cleaning business. They were like, oh, okay, then, yeah. And after I got everything together, I had to think of a name.
Okay.
So I thought about it. I said, what do I want it to be? I originally was going to go with 2 peas in a pod. Because I thought, me and my mom, 2 peas in a pod. But that name was taken when I actually went to the SBA website.
Which means you can't just jump out there using the name. You got to do your research.
Yes, you have to do your research because there are penalties, there are laws.
Absolutely.
You can actually lose a lot of money because people will sue you for using their name. So I was like, what is it that's original? What'll stick with you? So I thought about it. Crying Shame.
Yeah.
It's my father's CB name.
Okay.
His CB handle, he was a truck driver for like 34 years. And while I was on the website, I was like, man, that's a crying shame. I can't think of nothing. And I said, you know what? That's it.
It hit you.
And I was like, it's catchy.
Yeah.
You'll remember it.
Right.
And so then I came up with a slogan that if we can't clean it, it's a crying shame.
Okay. I like that.
And so it sticks with you.
Yeah.
Like even if you just got my card and you thought about me, but you weren't ready for services, you're like, you know what? That's catchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I like that. And so another thing that we're going to be sure to talk about is that you've already mentioned you're not just a cleaner. You're not just, the help, you are the business. And, that's not the only thing you do. We don't have to get into that, but you have a full-time career and a full-time job as well. We want people to know that this is something different that you're doing. And this is something extra that you've implemented, and if you want to speak on that at all, it's just
so I'm in a
thing.
sector of social work, where I'm able to work with children and families and implement different changes in people's lives. So for me, I think that is the biggest part of my calling
Hmm.
is to reach out and help children and families.
Absolutely.
But even with my cleaning business, I hope that, God continues to grow my business and increase my territory so that I can implement programs to help children and families,
Hmm.
whether it's a mentorship or it's an internship or things like that. I hope that it grows big enough so we can implement those type of things.
Yeah, and
So,
I've been watching you for a while. It's going to be
so
growing, and you're very positive. On your
yes,
platform on the internet, and I love that. And shout out to your mom for being the motivation. Behind you. I know she's watching, she's tuned in, and I hope everything that she's dealing with, gets better. With
thank you.
time, and that it's a short trial that you have to deal with. And so I'm sure all the joy that you're bringing her by the things that you're
Yes.
doing, that's just going to be a big help within itself. So excellence in black business, and I think that you're doing an excellent job. So by you being a business owner and by you being an African American female, what does that just mean to you, and what should it mean to others by you being a business owner, and how do you, take that to heart?
It's personal. I always say this grind is personal because it's not just about me or
Hmm.
or the set goals that I said, okay, I'm going to do this A, B, and C, but it's really bigger than you because you have children, you have family, you have cousins that are all watching you.
Hmm.
So my biggest thing was coming from Mississippi. Like Mississippi is known for being the lowest, or like anytime we're portrayed in the media is usually negative.
Yeah.
We're number one for teen pregnancy. Our literacy rates are low, but that's not necessarily true.
Right.
So that the children there need to see, okay, this girl from 2 streets over from me started a whole company and is successful in this building. They need to see that.
Yeah.
And it's not just someone telling you, oh, you can make it. They need to see you actually do it.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the biggest things for me. Just showing my family, my friends, my neighbors, that it is very possible. There are so many opportunities, but you've got to put in the work. You've got to keep fasting. You got to keep praying. You got to be consistent.
Yeah.
And so once you set a goal, it's up to you to get it done.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing for me, and for me to actually show. And I always say I never ask anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do.
Right.
So a lot of people are like, why are you cleaning? Like, you could just easily hire someone. Yes, I could, but it'll mean so much more if you said, you know what, I saw my boss get down there and scrub that floor, or I want to feel the integrity. I want you to actually be excited about what you're doing. You need to have joy about what you're doing and not just say, oh, I got a job.
Right. Right.
You don't go as hard because it's not necessarily yours and you don't feel like you're a part of it.
Right.
I want you to be a part of the family. I want you to be like, oh man, I can't wait to go. Oh, I got this client today, and you're excited about it.
Okay. And with that, it's so many things I want to spin off on that. But in regards to you getting in the grind, and when your people see you working, whether you're interns or actual employees, when they see you doing it, then you're setting a standard for them, and I'm sure that affects how they work. So speak on that a little bit. How do you motivate them?
In my primary profession and also in the business, I've always been the person that I would say I'm in a space now where I can say, okay, I'm into leadership.
Setting the standard.
Because one of the biggest things is I was listening to a sermon from my pastor one day, and he said that in order for you to be a great leader, you need to master fellowship. Okay. So you have to be a great follower before you can be a leader.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for me. When I moved into a higher position at my career, I was just like, what can I do to implement the change that I want to see?
Right.
So I came in with the idea of what type of supervisor or what type of leader that I need or that I wanted. So I started just implementing things that I thought were needed, and I kind of put a spin to it, put my own little spin on it. And so far it's been successful. Okay. But I wanted people to engage and say, you know what, I wanna move up. I don't want to just stay at this position for however many years of being comfortable. I want to, shake up some stuff. I want to be challenged.
Right.
I can honestly say that starting working, my mentor, which is one of my mentors now, was my science teacher.
Okay.
He identified something in me that I couldn't see.
Yeah.
At 16, he gave me a job as a waitress in his restaurant. And I went from that into management. And I stayed in management it's about 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And until I actually moved to Texas, I had never really filled out an application. I got jobs based on my talent, my personality. You know, people just walking in, seeing me work, and they're like, hey, if you can do this, you can do this.
God's favor.
And always being, you know, open-minded, trainable, coachable, open to new suggestions, and not just being closed-minded, like this is the only way that this can be done.
Yeah.
So in that, I compiled all of that experience, and I just tried to subject it to other people. Like, hey, have you ever thought about doing it this way? Or maybe if we come at it from the left side instead of the right side, it'll be a little bit more effective. And people are like, I never thought about it that way.
Okay.
And so far, that's been working for me.
That's good, man. I mean, you're actually giving the listeners, I hope y'all are paying attention, you know, because it's called Excellence in Black Business, and it goes back, you know, your backstory is part of who you are now. And so actually being mindful of the things you've learned and just the type of person you are is actually helping the people that you're dealing with now. So that's the thing that I like the most. And so with that being said, the need for the help for your employees or interns or whatever you consider, I call this commercial time. You know, it's all about tell the people how they can find you, your website, and if your phone number. And if you're looking for people, you know, how can they get associated?
I am looking for people. I need experienced cleaners. And I also need people who are open to be trained, people who are able to be mobile and travel. Because right now the span has expanded from the Spring area to downtown. So we're kind of all over the city right now, which is a great
leads
thing.
Me into that next thing I was going to talk about is your expansion.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. I was so excited. I did an actual estimate in River Oaks last night. I cleaned last night at over West Chase, and that's probably maybe almost an hour, you know, travel time in the city
distance,
away from me.
Yeah.
So my Facebook page is Crying Shame Janitorial LLC. Instagram is CS Janitorial at CS Janitorial. My phone number is 832-414-6005. So you can reach me by phone. Also, the email is cryingShameJanitorial@gmail.com. So you can actually call me, text me, email me your resume, post it on the actual Facebook page or the Instagram DM.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And if you missed it, we'll go back to it. You know, we'll give you a couple more commercials throughout. But the thing is that I want to talk about also is how has COVID affected you at all, if at all, which I'm leaning toward what you had told me before, the certification that you picked up during the COVID deal.
Okay. So at first, before COVID, it was kind of, you know, up and down, a little inconsistent. But that's with any business. When you first starting, you're learning everything, you're growing. And it was kind of up and down. But I didn't want to, I was kind of torn as to how I was going to go about focusing on the cleaning business, because I'm working every bit of 8 to 10 hour shifts on my primary job, and then going home, eating a sandwich, and then I'm cleaning all night, or I'm cleaning early in the morning and still trying to maintain. So
she's doing all that for you, Mom.
I actually ended up getting a couple people to help me. My friends, very supportive. One of my good friends, Rosalina Roberts, she is so amazing. She stepped in and started helping me. So I was able to get more cleans that way. So I went on the website, and I'm on, what is it called? It's for Airbnbs, and they have like this little COVID like section, and you had to take a little certification, and then it took you off to like a spinoff type of website. So I just started educating myself on COVID cleaning, disinfectant, going to the CDC website to see exactly what was needed. I invested in hospital grade cleaning and disinfectants. And after that, I did a Facebook ad. because I follow Tristan Sutton, and he was saying how important Facebook ads were.
Right.
So I paid for a Facebook ad, and then it boosted, and then people started contacting me like, "Hey."
Okay.
So I went from homes to it's a mixture right now, commercial and residential. So I was just happy to serve people. Happy that they can actually say, "Hey, I've had COVID cleaning and sanitizing, and it's safe for you to either come reside here or visit here or participate in services here." So
and for me, I mean, I've seen you make some posts, and it's not just residential and commercial. You cleaning automobiles too. I seen you did the diesel and a couple cars.
18-wheelers. I have detailed 18-wheelers. I pressure wash houses.
Tell them about it. Don't be modest. You need to let these people know what you do.
I've got into a little bit of floor cleaning. I just bought a carpet cleaner actually yesterday.
Okay.
So stripping, buffing, waxing, and it's crazy because I actually do these things myself.
Absolutely.
Like I teach myself how to do these things, or I go through classes. Like I do reach out to other business mentors, and just kind of pick their brains, because I think the biggest thing with mentorship and actually Black business, this is going to be a lesson to people.
Right.
There's a difference in asking a business owner how they got started, or you're sharing your interest in the same type of business. But I think that it's a little bit more, what is the word I want to use?
Important or meaningful? Or what?
I'll say meaningful.
Okay.
Because it's a difference if I say, you know what, I want to start a podcast. And I just call you and say, I want to start a podcast, and I want you to tell me how to start a podcast. You'll be like, oh, okay, well, yeah. But if I call you and say, look, sir, I've done this research. I have this equipment. I have this budget. This is what I want to do. I'm really interested, and you can see that.
Yeah.
You'll take a bigger interest in me and actually trying to help me, rather than me calling you and say, I want a podcast.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. People don't understand that. It's not that people don't want to share secrets with you, because I had a lot of people tell me they started their business by the grace of God. And I was just kind of like, amen.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop me from saying, okay, I'm not going to go into business because that one person wouldn't help me. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to become a little bit more knowledgeable, so the next time that I present myself to someone, they'll know that I'm serious. They'll know that I'm dedicated and that I really want to help.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's a different approach that people should really consider, because it's not that people actually spend a lot of money to invest in themselves.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see the studying that they do in the middle of the night, or the conferences they attend, or, the
right now the Zoom
sessions.
classes.
Yeah, the Zoom classes they take. That takes time. It takes money.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to say, hey, here's the key to the kingdom right here.
Right. You
can have it.
Yeah, because you'll lose it a lot quicker that way.
True.
You don't have that dedication is basically what you're saying. Then the attention, the dedication, the will, and all of that is much less than someone like yourself that has plenty of reasons why you're doing it and plenty goals in it. And like my man Nice here says, he said, "What's your plan?" He always saying that. And there's people that that I've talked to that you have to, like you say, you have to do the research, you have to take the steps. You have to be dedicated, and then everything else follows from there.
True.
Yeah. So the crime shame, right? So your business is dedicated to which sector first? Was it more residential or more commercial?
More residential.
More residential. You've grown into the commercial side.
Yes.
And then of course now you're doing automobiles, you're doing power washing.
Yes.
What type of goals do you have for your business, whether it be expansion or anything like that? What is some of your goals you have?
Expansion, multi-level, multi-facilities.
Okay.
Actually branching from various states. The biggest thing for me is to give back and actually like help people cross. So as in restoring jobs, giving people different skills. A lot of people think that, oh, I could just go to school and, I have to do it this way. No, you can do something technical. You can do something hands-on. I also have degrees, but I'm also very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what fits you and what's the best fit for you. Some people need help finding that.
Right.
So whether I can create a program where you can find out, you may be good at admin information and work and data processing and things like that. You may be good at actually doing scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
You may be good at payroll. Those things all play into a business. You don't actually have to clean.
Right.
And there are some people that just enjoy cleaning.
Yeah.
Also with the cleaning, it ties into my profession because in my career, you have to have a lot of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to find balance.
Yeah.
So when I'm cleaning, I'm in a whole nother zone. I cut my music on, I got my gospels going, and I'm just cleaning.
Yeah.
And that's helping me relax and reset and regroup. Even though I'm making money, I'm still paying attention to the details. It's helping me to relax so that I can reset and go hard the next day for the career position.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're good at and what you really want to focus in. So I want to be able to provide that for people.
Okay, man, that sounds good. And I guess it leads me into my next thing. I have this thing that I guess I would call you tell them. So what would you tell the young lady? Because I know, like me, we talked about, I'm more focused on the men, but of course I include the ladies in our actual mission of what we're doing. And you're more focused on the ladies, and we're going to go into that later. But what would you tell that youngster, or even someone our age that is trying to start their business, or they're trying to revamp their business? What little tidbits would you tell them? And I mean, we've kind of told them, but what else would you give them at this point and tell them to focus on, and how to sustain and stuff like that? What information would you give them?
I would say one of the biggest things that has helped me with my business, and everybody may not be religious, but you have to have a prayer life. My prayer life is, it's just gotten me through all type of tough situations. But I would say one of the biggest thing is to write down your goals. It's different when I can say all day, I want multi-level facilities. I want multi-level. But until I actually write down how I can get number one, and then when number one can branch off to number two, and those steps in between, I can actually visually see it. It should make me want to go harder to actually
achieve 100%. Yeah.
So I feel like if you actually write down your goals so you can see them, and even the vision boards, a lot of people are into vision boards. Amazing idea.
Yeah.
I have a vision board that I created, and I put it by the door in my house, walking out of the door.
Yeah.
So every day I walk out, I can remind myself of, okay, there go the house.
Yeah.
Okay, there go the facility. And it
keeps your mind on it.
It refreshes you.
I do it every year with my kids. It's something that has become a ritual. I'd say over the last 4 years, we do it for New Year's. It's like that first week of the new year or the last week of the previous year. I try to get that thing done. We sit down together, you cut out things, and you'll be surprised too what people put out there. And I try to give it a range of course, the year that we're going into, but even stretch it out maybe 2 or 3 years, because subconsciously they don't even understand you're giving them a 2 or 3 year plan. For my kids and for the youth, you're making them challenge themselves and think about, it's not about just this week. It's not about today. It's not about next month. You got to think a little bit further than that. So, I mean, I love that, and that's definitely something that I would compliment, and encourage as well. So vision boards are a big thing. Yeah.
I also set goals with mile markers.
Okay.
So if my goal, I'll say is June. We're going into July. So July to December, I have a set of goals. But in between that, I also have 30, 60, 90-day goals.
Okay.
So in 30 days, if I say, okay, I want another 5 employees by December. So that means July 1st, I'm going to start looking for those employees. In 30 days, I should have background checks ran. In 60 days, I should have people actually on the payroll. I can see who is doing what and who needs to be promoted or who needs to be moved. And then by the 90th day, I should have people who I can say are confidently able to clean and be consistent. And then by December, I've reached my goal of having those 5 people.
Yeah.
So actually breaking down steps to get into the goals is just as important as writing it down.
Cool. And so what I like to believe and what I profess is that every week I do a show, there's at least one person that's looking and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna call her, so for that person that's looking and they're watching right now, what should be their goals if they want to come to you and work? What should they, of course, the application and all that, and what is I guess, time frame for them to expect to be able to get involved and really be on their own and really be able to operate, and be under your wingship?
I would say it depends on exactly what they want to do, as far as if they want to be a cleaner. Like, it's broken down into different areas right now. I'm trying to do teams of 2 to 3, where I have someone for residential, I have someone for Airbnb, I have someone for floor care, and someone for vehicles. Gotcha. So that's the overall goal, because I kind of just dip and dab everywhere.
You can do it all.
I'll go from a building to I'll go clean a house, and then I go clean 3 trucks.
Do you welcome that if somebody wants to kind of?
If they want to be open. I was always taught one big thing that I learned in management was always be cross-trained, and always cross-train all your people, because if someone is out or something like that, they're able to pick up. And so I'm all for training some little me's. I need some people that can be versatile and be open about it.
Right.
So
okay, well, that's good. So we definitely want people, if you're interested, or if you just need the extra income, whatever your motivation is, man, please contact her, Crying Shame Janitorial LLC, and get involved. But so kind of, I don't want to transition yet, but I guess I will.
Okay.
But we've talked about, you had said you got to be a good follower. A leader has to learn how to follow first. Reminds me of something that I was thinking about is, on my side, a good mentor has to be mentored first, and so in order to give, you have to have gone through. That's my thing, and so being a mentor, being a leader, you definitely have to have followed, or you definitely have to have been mentored. So I strongly agree with that. So kind of want to talk about what we're doing and what we talked about as far as giving back to the community and how you're involved in the church. And, we'll come back to the business if we need to, but that's the goals you have for that is something that, that I look forward to. And
I'm excited
this space that you, the thing that stuck with me with our conversation is, the created. I gave it a name myself. I don't know if that's what you said, but I'm like, that's going to be her business name. Just created. How you, anything that you want to do. The example is just simple. And a lot of people do it, but I know you're more detailed on what you're trying to do. But like for people's birthday, instead of going buy a birthday card, create the birthday card. So talk a little bit about that program. And I know this is going to get you going right here, but let's talk about the young ladies. And of course, you involve the men. So let's talk about that.
Okay. So just in general experience of whether it be family, whether it be children that I've met in the community, whether it be children that I met from church, I identified that basically children need time. They need time, they need consistency, and they need that follow up. So I have a friend that I graduated from college with, and we've been friends for a good little minute now, about 6 years. And we had an idea to start a non-for-profit together. And we found a name, we got a concept of what we really want to do, and we wanted to call it Inspiring the Better.
Okay.
We came up with the logo, and we're in the works of just getting everything worked out. But we have a concept of 10 areas that we want to target with women and children. I'm going to work more with the children. She's going to work more with the women. But on my end with the children, I am challenging creativity and peer-to-peer mentoring.
Yeah.
Because I discovered that children follow other children, but if they're mentored correctly and they have someone to look up to, then that everything that you're instilling in that child, it's gonna wash off on the next child.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about it. I just love kids. Period.
Yeah.
I love kids. I love their energy.
I can just hear Miss Shantell.
I'm just as hyped as they are.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest target groups that I want to focus on is middle school.
Okay.
I think middle school is one of the most influential groups because they're in a transition. They're kind of in a limbo in life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time that they need the most guidance.
Yeah.
Because they're coming from, I'm in 6th grade, I'm a baby. You know, the other kids that are in 7th grade, like, oh, you just got here.
Yeah.
The 7th graders are in the middle because they don't know if they're going to be the smart kid in the corner, they're going to be the quiet kid, they're going to be the troublemaker, they're going to be the jokester. And then once they get to 8th grade, they're like, okay, I kind of know what I want to do. And they're going into high school with that attitude.
Yeah, self-identifying phase.
Yes,
yeah.
If no one molds them during that phase, it can go either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then by the time they're actually in high school and you're trying to handle all of that, it's kind of like you might have missed the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that is the perfect age group to work with as far as mentor peering. I'm sorry, peer-to-peer mentoring.
Yeah.
And I think that activities for them to do would be more technical, hands-on, like they're in the Fortnite stage.
Yeah.
So anything that's dealing with being creative, being
and for
technical.
those who don't know, Fortnite, they building the whole game. You know, they building, destroying, tearing down, putting back up.
Yes.
You know, trying to be the coolest, you know,
so
on that
if they
deal.
can do all of that on a game, just imagine what they could do and imagine how productive they would be in the community.
Right.
So I'm excited about challenging them to do so. I try to challenge kids to think outside of the box. A lot of people are focused on money, and they think that, oh, I gotta have money for this and I gotta have money for that. But no, you really don't.
Right.
You can take small things and put them together to create something large.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing.
Right.
They don't understand. And then after it's created, they look back and like, I did that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did do that.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much. It didn't take you long.
Finding that hidden power. Yeah, that's cool. And teaching them collaboration at the same time, you know, and working together. You know, that just blew me away, you know, to think about the things that I'm trying to do in the plan. So we're going to have to collaborate as well,
Absolutely.
You know,
No
and make
problem.
sure we put a program together for these kids to just give them something else, you know, something that's big for them. But in regards to the business and the nonprofit, I know people are saying, and again, we'll be repeating the same stuff, but people are like, man, you got a full-time job, you got a business, you're running a nonprofit. Like, how do you find the space and the mental capacity? How do you do that? Yeah, and that's what I want you to tell them. It's not hard, you know. I mean, it's hard. It's not easy, is what I was trying to say.
You got to create balance, but I would say that along with my mom and my friends, it has been getting better. I've been trying to make time for myself, even if it's just 1 hour for the day. And I just, you know, light a candle and read a couple chapters of a book. Or if I just sit out on my patio and just take a deep breath, because I'll just keep going until somebody says, stop. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're like a robot because you stop.
Right.
Like, what are you working for? Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, it's just got to get done.
Yeah.
It's got to get done. I don't have time to stop.
Yeah, and my take on that is that, you know, you do the work early in life, you know, then you'll be able to stop later. You know, my grandmother always tells me and my mom, she always say, you better go get it while you can get it. You know, while you can get it, go get it. Because, you know, when you get a little bit older, you don't know, especially if you're not giving yourself the self-care. And there's 24 hours in a day, you know, and you don't have to relax 5 hours of the day. You know, sometimes it only takes an hour, you know, 30 minutes, power naps, you know, just a quick exercise. So if you focus on instilling that in some part of your day, then you'll be all right, you know, is what I like to say. But you definitely have to be mindful. And the point I was making is that you have to also be focused, you know, with all these things that you're doing.
True.
You got to be focused and you have to be disciplined.
You can't, I always tell my workers when I call to check on them in my primary job, I need to know that you're okay, because you can't make effective decisions if you're not okay.
Right.
So people don't understand that. My friends fuss at me all the time. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be good enough. Nobody.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, okay. But it's really a reality, because if I'm broke down and tired and exhausted, then I can't instill all of the things that God has instilled in me, project those off to someone else, because
Right.
I'm too tired to do it, or I'm too hurt to do it. And you literally have to push through.
Right.
My grandmother always used to tell me, when God tell you to do something, you better do it.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
okay, I got to get this done.
And a lot of times we ask for those signs and we ignore them. So yeah, you definitely better do it.
I am a overthinker.
Okay.
And for so long, I talked myself out of things.
Mm.
Like God was like, I gave you the vision. I gave you the tools. Stop giving it to other people. Like
Right.
I would say, hey, this is a great idea for you to do for your nonprofit. And you do it and you tried and it'd be successful. But it would be more impactful if I did it.
If you did it, because it was for
you.
you.
The vision for
Absolutely.
To me. And I'm just kind of like, okay, God, you really want me to do this?
Yeah.
And he's like,
and you still second guessing.
He's like, yes, I'm not going to tell you no more. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my biggest thing. I had to stop. I wouldn't say passing it along, but I was just basically giving ideas to other people. Like, this will work for you. I think you should do this. But it was for me to do.
It's your heart.
You know, and you
want to see people grow. Because I went through that for a while myself. When you said it, just made me like, hey, I used to do that too. You know, you get a great idea and you're not giving it to somebody else, but you speak on it and you just share it and you're nurturing it through someone else when you could do that same thing for yourself. And that's just something that we do that with people as well. You know, I posted something and I was like, God will show you who people are. And then you'll be like, no, they're not really like that. And then God will be like, let me show you again, dummy. You know, that was this meme that I put up, is that you just have to be mindful, not only with people, with the things that he speaks into you and the things that he blesses you with. So, it is very important for the discernment, and that plays an important role.
I would say that to add to the discernment, you also have to pray for strength.
Absolutely.
Because the biggest thing with discernment is we're like, okay, God, I need discernment. I pray for you to remove this person, or for you to reveal this person. But then once he does it, you have to have the strength to say, okay, I'm not going to go back and help that person, or I'm not going to draw them back in, or, okay, you remove them, Lord, I'm not going to bring them back.
Right.
But we still do that. So I think that even if we pray for the discernment, we also need to pray for the strength.
Absolutely.
To accept what he's done.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest things, is we do allow that to happen. You reopen that door that was shut. It was shut for a reason, and we just kicked that door back open. You have to be mindful of that, because a lot of things, I just call it self-inflicted. We bring things upon ourselves, and then we try to blame other people. But we definitely have to be mindful about that. Absolutely. So the and we're kind of just going back and forth between the two, but with the nonprofit, right? So how did that start? I know you said it was in the church, or how did you really go about creating that platform?
I love kids.
Okay.
I'm the super auntie that I would come pick up everybody's kids, and I'll keep them, and we'll do all type of activities from your 2-year-old all the way up to your 18-year-old. So, and plus I was in the child development. I actually worked in Mississippi as a preschool teacher. So I've always had a background with working with children.
Right.
And then that, my partner, Shamika, she's also into child development and things like that. So when we started talking, we were just like, okay, what can we do? Like, I'm like, man, I experienced this from this aspect, and I think this is needed. She's like, well, I saw this, and this is needed. I was like, okay, so how can we put this together? So we kept talking about it. We wrote everything down. We had a couple meetings, and we kept saying, okay, we're going to get it done. But, we're both busy with just regular life working. She's in a master's program. I'm supposed to be starting back. And she's just kind of like, well, we don't have time. So every Saturday we would designate an hour, no matter what we did. Designate an hour, get on the call, write everything down, and then we'd split tasks amongst each other. So one of the ideas
woman of purpose, I like it,
was I wanted to do kind of like a game night. And in that game night, I wanted to do things like bingo. But on the bingo chip, on the board, instead of having actual, like the numbers,
Mhm.
it would have like words of inspiration and words of encouragement for the mom and the daughter.
Okay.
And as they play bingo, then they could discuss, why they felt, well, I'm beautiful because of this,
Mhm.
or I know that I'm intelligent because of this,
Provoking
and
those
things like
conversations.
that. And I felt like it would provoke a whole conversation between their mom and their daughter to say, you know what, I never knew that you thought like this. I
Right.
never knew that you liked these things, and that would be something that they could take with them,
Mhm.
and that would
And
help
build a
build
bond
the
upon.
bond
Absolutely.
between their mother and daughter. So those are just some of the things that I, just off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I'll just be doodling. Like,
Okay.
I always keep a notebook by my bed now.
Right.
Because I wake up like, oh, that's good. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
And then when Saturday comes, I'll be like, Shamika, you're not going to believe this. I got this, this, and this. And she's like, okay, well, that's your department. You handle that. And then on her end, as far as like resume building, job skills, a lot of women who are in like domestic violence situations or just in strenuous situations because they didn't have the skill, or they felt they didn't have the skill,
Right.
Or they didn't have any resources, or the resources were available and they didn't know how to get to them. So her job is to connect those.
Okay.
So we're going to partner with people in the community to make sure that they have these things available, they know where to go, and they know how to follow up. So her part of the non-for-profit would be more of the women and younger women. I think she's going to start from the age group of 18 to 30.
Okay.
And that's job skills. Perfect example, a young lady, she's 16. Her first job interview, Chick-fil-A. She didn't know, how to go to an interview. Like, hey, we're going to put your hair in a bun, and we're going to, make it look neat. We're not going to wear any red lipstick or black nails or anything like that.
Right.
We're going to have clear nails. We're going to have light lipstick. We're going to wear a white shirt or black or blue pants and black shoes. Like things that you just don't know off the top of your head.
Yeah, especially
but
at
it's
16.
actually needed. So I think that would be more of etiquette.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of I'm going to tie that into
job readiness. Yeah, so, absolutely.
And I did, I've had some experience with doing mock interviews.
Okay.
I was in management for a very long time. So I kind of knew different practices that were needed in order to get a job. So with the younger ladies, I'm like, hey, I'm your boss and you're coming in for a job interview. Come tell me, what's your plan with the company? Do you plan on staying with the company? And they're kind of like, people don't ask that. Yes, they do. They do. They want to know.
Absolutely.
Are you going to stay here? Or,
right.
So things like that. So I figure, okay, this is needed.
Yeah.
This is needed.
Very much so.
So
that's pretty cool, man. And I mean, y'all are giving them, just from that short spill on it, y'all are giving them a lot of the skills that they're needing, and then also family bonding, between the mother and daughter. That's some great stuff. I just like to take a second. There's people watching, people commenting. So I like to say, I guess, is it Shamika Harris? Is that who you talking about? Yeah, she said hello.
Hey,
and so shout out to you, Shamika. I appreciate you tuning in. Kathy Tatum, that's somebody I could get you hooked up with. And then my sister from the Soup and Lola and Soup show, and then Mika Diamond, my sister. Shout out to all of y'all for tuning in, man.
Thank you.
So Miss Shantell Coleman, Crying Shame Janitorial Services. Also, what is the nonprofit?
Inspiring the Better.
Inspiring the Better. I hope and wish y'all nothing but the best, because you're doing some great things with that. Yes. And the importance of collaborating with different groups and different organizations, and the expansion, even with the business, because one thing you were talking about the expansion, but you didn't mention you have a branch in Mississippi.
Yes.
So how does that work? Because I've been watching. I'm like, I was going to invite you here, and I'm like, oh man, she live in Mississippi. She ain't got time. Okay. And then we started the virtual thing. I'm like, oh, I can invite her now. Let's come on in. You like, I'm in Houston. I'm like, what? But you just come and go.
I'm one of those people that I don't. You got to keep up with.
Yeah,
me.
Absolutely.
It's kind of intriguing to keep up with me. I can work 10 hours on my regular job, go clean 2 buildings, and then get on the road to go to Mississippi.
Wow.
And be back by 8:00 Monday morning.
Right.
So there's a need for cleaning and basically COVID cleaning in Mississippi, because of the governor shut down the businesses kind of late and then they reopened. So I said, you know what? Let me do a commercial branch, nothing but commercial. So I found a young man who has he was starting his business, and I was like, okay, why don't we collaborate together and subcontract? So he does strip and buff and waxing, COVID cleaning, disinfecting, sanitizing in Mississippi. So sometimes when people contact me, I actually just do the contract with them or just do the services for them and then contract him, or I'll just automatically send them to him.
Okay.
So that's kind of how the Mississippi area goes. And I have a lot of people who are like, hey, do you clean here? You clean there? And I'm like, give me 1 minute. Let me prioritize everything here, then I'll be there.
Yeah.
And then I have some people like, we'll pay you to travel. Just come clean our house.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Might have to consider that. Yeah.
So I'm open to it. I'll say that.
Right.
But it's just a transition of trying to balance everything at one time.
Yeah. God talking to you again. He trying to get you to make the move. You've probably been thinking about it. So, you just got to figure out how to make that work. So that's awesome, man.
So I'm positive about it. I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you want me to do, God, I'm just going to follow. I'm like, I'm going to be still and I'm going to wait for you to tell me when to move.
Absolutely.
And even if I don't, just make it, he's moving things around for me. Okay, let me get this out of your way. So I'm excited about it.
And that's another thing, when you say that, when you're prayerful, you're faithful, diligent, and purposeful, people say, won't he do it? I mean, it's true. Yes, he will do it, true. And if you pay attention and you're doing the things that you need to do, he'll make sure that things work out the way they need to work out. So that's definitely something that I know you already know that part. Yes.
I think it's a shock to me because I'll say something and like a young lady, I think her name is Karen. She wrote me on Facebook last night. She's like, I'm so glad you added me. Like, you're so positive. And I'm looking like, it's just my real life. I'm leaving one job and going to another, and I'm encouraging myself. And I'm just like, as I'm pushing myself, if I can help someone else, wonderful. My goal is every day, if I can just help one person, I can get to the next day. I can help one person, and hopefully something they learn from me, they can implement and help someone else. So that's pretty much my goal. And I always look at the glass as half full. I try to at all times. Like, well, that was a bad situation, but there was a positive in there. And people are looking at me like, you are crazy.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing that actually drew me and it made me pay attention when I seen and I saw a couple things you were saying. And I was like, man, that's me because, our lives are not perfect. You know what I'm saying? And we need that encouragement. So speaking on that, that's what I try to do, though. I try to be positive and show positive. And even if you're going through something, you don't really have to dive into what it is. And you can let people know that, hey, man, I got hard times, too. And one of the obvious points is your mom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's going through things. I know that's tough on you. You probably either one of two things. You have to give up a job to be there for mom, or you not there for mom, but you're getting it done. And then you're sacrificing, one way or the other.
And it comes to a point of like, what's more important to you, the time or the money? But then I realized, okay, if I'm making the money and I don't have the time, it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
So once I had to figure out, okay, how can I balance this out? How can I make decent money and still spend time with my mom? So even with the cleaning business, she's very much involved.
Okay.
Like, I pretty much don't make a move. Like, we have a relationship where if I'm going to make a move of any sort, I'm going to talk to my mom first.
Okay.
And we'll talk all night long. And, he'll go like, I went home and I took my mom and my auntie out. I just said, hey, y'all get dressed. And we're going to go spend the whole day together. They had no idea where we were going or what we were doing. And we went shopping and we went to spas. And I just needed to be around the encouragement. I just needed to be around the love.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care what they bought. It didn't matter to me. I just needed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I drove all the way home. Like, I was like, okay, I've been working for almost 2 weeks straight, no break. And then we were on it wasn't quarantine, but we weren't able to really leave. You can't really take off because something might happen. You have to be available. So I was like, I need to go home. And I went home for the weekend and it was amazing. I recharged, I refreshed, I came back, went harder.
Okay.
So I think for people, you just have to find what what's more important to you, like what is the actual goal, because sometimes we spend so much time working that it takes away from the family that you're working to provide for.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that people should have realized with COVID.
Hmm.
They're actually at home now to spend more time, and they was like, I didn't know that my child was doing this, or I didn't know my wife needed this, I didn't know my husband needed this, because you spent 14 hours a day at a job.
Right.
And when you get home, you're tired, you have your little ritual, and you reset to go back to the next day to do those things again.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that, okay, I'm providing, I'm doing all these things, but you're really lacking the interaction with your family that you really need.
That you really need, yeah.
So
and to keep up with your own household. And what I was doing just now is making sure we don't forget the audience. We have our comments up. Nobody's really saying anything, but this is part of the show where, if you have any questions, if there's something you'd like to know about Miss Shantell or just anything about the cleaning, make the comments. We'll try to address those. But at the same time, now you got a double commercial to run. So now it's commercial time again. For those viewers who are just tuning in, is Miss Shantell Coleman, the CEO of Crying Shame Janitorial LLC. But let them know your Instagram, your Facebook, and then also the same thing for the nonprofit.
Facebook is Crying Shame Janitorial LLC, and Instagram is CSJ it's at CSJ Janitorial on Instagram. And for the not-for-profit, we're building our website now.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's to come. We'll post the information to let everybody kind of know where to go and where to get involved.
Absolutely. And they can just keep up with you because they're going to see it if they keep up with you.
I'm going to post.
Yeah.
I'm going
Absolutely.
to post.
Absolutely. And so in your day-to-day process, are you able to still receive calls? Is there a best time of day to call you? What would you prefer on that?
Even when people, I would prefer people go through the Facebook page, because if you post a message, it's an automatic message that's going to come up. Say, thank you for contacting Crying Shame Janitorial. We'll get back with you momentarily.
Absolutely.
Can you please leave your phone number? And once you do that, it'll send an automatic, and it goes to my phone.
Okay.
And there are 2 other lines where I can forward the information to other people, and they can respond. And someone will call you back within 24 hours, definitely.
Okay.
And we'll call you back to either schedule you or call you back to schedule the estimate and go from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, well, I just salute all the things that you're doing. And I mean, I think it's just wonderful, and you're a woman of purpose, man. And ain't no stopping.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I'm really just trying to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get it done.
You're doing that, man. You got a team, you have a vision and you working it, and then at the end of the day, it all stems back to family, and so shout out to mom again. You have an amazing daughter. She's doing her thing. And, you can't ask for more than that. What I like transitioning to is this point where, as we wait in case anybody wants to ask questions or anything like that, is just the current times, and the times we're living in. And, I like to start with COVID because you're doing COVID clean. I ask silly, simple questions because there's still people who act like it ain't real. What's your take on COVID? Is it real? Is that real? Can I get sick from COVID? And as much as we hear about it, there's still people who don't take it serious, and that's like, what's your take on that?
People on if they want to. It is very serious. With the mask, along with the sanitation, along with the hand sanitizing, I would take every precaution available. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've known neighbors who have passed. I know personally, like a whole household who was affected by COVID, and 2 to 3 people died within a span of a week.
Wow.
And it's more of our older community. Because the thing is, even if you are, I think of a younger community, which young people have died too, but if you have pre-existing conditions, it's like COVID makes it worse.
Right.
So as your body's trying to fight off one thing already, it adds more to it.
Right.
And that's a lot for your body to handle at one time. So one or the other is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like the ventilation and things like that, I think that that's the biggest part that people are not understanding. Once you start dealing with your breathing and your heart is working harder to try to, get more air, circulate through your body. And people don't understand that if they don't have the proper tools that are needed to treat these people, then they're basically passing away.
Right.
And it doesn't, for me, I feel like people don't understand. It really doesn't hit home until it hits them.
It hits them. Exactly.
And then it's too late.
Exactly.
Like you missed all the warning signs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and you don't want to be part of the statistics, as they say. You have to do your due diligence.
mm-hmm.
I totally understand. People are not wanting to stay in the house, and they're tired of being in the house, and you want to be able to be out and be normal. But one thing about it is nothing's going to be normal again.
It's never going to be the same.
It's never going to be the same. So it's very much so. This is the new normal. When people say get back to normal, is not going back. This is the new normal.
This is the new
and
normal.
we have to pay attention to that.
And as far as cleaning is concerned, cleaning is going to become essential, like 100% essential, because you really can't maneuver without the cleaning.
Yeah.
And even though there are companies that are kind of like shortchanging themselves and they're trying to like teach their employees or allow their employees to clean, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing it correctly.
Yeah.
And that they may have the things that they need, but that doesn't mean that they're doing like the common areas like your doorknobs, things that are actually touched frequently need to be cleaned like thoroughly, and that not just one time, over and over. Like it has to, because if I wipe this doorknob and then your partner comes through and he touches the doorknob and we don't wipe it, okay, you have germs on top of germs.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, teach us a little bit. So, in my household and in anybody else's household, we're around the same people. So then we get a little bit more relaxed, but we all go and we touch different areas of the community, different people. So what would be, if they can't call a professional over, they can't call a crime shame janitorial, what are some things that, we should already know, but what are the proper steps that we should take just around the house and making sure we keep the house
simple
clean?
Things like Lysol, disinfectant wipes, Clorox wipes, very effective. The only thing about it is you have to keep cleaning. Some people think that if they just clean one time, that's it. Or I keep my house clean. Yes, ma'am, but you went out, you picked up the remote, you put it back down, you walked to the kitchen, you came back, you touched the doorknob, you opened the refrigerator. Everybody in your house has touched this refrigerator.
Yeah.
You wiped it last night, but 6 people touched it today. Over and over. So you have to go back and wipe it down. Yeah. And then come back.
And it's not that your family is dirty. It's just
it's
you
not
just don't know. Yeah.
They're dirty, but your son could have, played with the neighbor. The neighbor they're not cleaning every 10, 15 minutes. So now
they just dapped each other up.
Yeah, they just, man, I miss you. I'm in the house. And your son comes in, he just dapped his homeboy, came in the house, touched the refrigerator. Now everybody in the house touched the refrigerator.
Absolutely.
Somebody needs to wipe that down.
Yeah, yeah.
And you need to keep wiping it down. And Lysol spray, disinfectant, antibacterial wipes, things like that. They're now producing it says germicidal wipes. Those are good as well.
Okay.
Just to keep around in your house. The hand sanitizer is good. I think the whole smell of the hand sanitizer can be overwhelming sometimes. Like if you're constantly washing your hand, like especially people who are like OCD, you're constantly washing your hand, then it will start irritating your skin. And, so you want to make sure that you're actually washing your hands instead of always using the sanitizer. Right. They said wash your hands, not sanitize
shout out
your
to
hands.
Miss Jalandria Houston. I don't know if you've seen her. We call her, her company is called Little Germinators. And she speaks specifically to germs, and she has a hand washing song, and it's that idea of, sometimes people, they wash their hands, they do it real quick. You actually have to take time, and, and she made a song to where if you just sing, and it's for kids, but it's catchy, it's fun, and me and Landon, we were singing it yesterday, and if you just sang that first chorus, then you've allowed yourself enough time to wash your hands and, you know, kill the germs. So, but look, your friend is talking to you, Miss Shamika. Shout out to you. We appreciate you tuning in, but she's loving the interview. And, you know, so yeah, so just consistency is doing the cleaning and being mindful of it over and over and over again is just something that I know is of the utmost importance.
Well, everybody knows itsy bitsy spider. So when you're washing your hands, you just, you know, you lather up, you know, put your hands in, and then you do the palm of your hands, both hands, and then you do the inside of your hands.
Right.
Then you do the outside of your hands. And as you're singing Itsy Bitsy Spider, by the time you get done, and don't forget your wrists. People just do their hands. They stop here. But if you're wearing gloves, then the gloves stop here. So you have to actually get your wrists and all of that too. So Itsy Bitsy Spider is simplest form to make sure that your hands are washed in warm water. Why would you wash your hand in cold water?
Yeah. So. You definitely want to take heed to the little things, man, because it'll make a huge impact, you know, and that's another thing. So what is your take on the changes? You mentioned that earlier, and talking about being the change that you want to see. You know, what can we do as a community, as Black people? What are some of your takes on some of the changes that we can make and being mindful of, if you even want to speak on it? But, you know, and I just give everybody the opportunity to speak on the current situations. How do you feel about it?
It is difficult. It really is. And it's difficult in so many different aspects. When you think about economic wise, as far as our money and the power of the Black dollar, as far as mental health is concerned, and we all need, I say, a lesson in mental health, and now it's becoming more accepted. But it used to be that, you know, what go on in my house, stay in my house. Well, what's going on in this house is hurting me.
Absolutely.
And people need to be able to talk to people about that. Professionals, that we have a lot of Black professionals who are licensed, you know, who can help. So as far as our community is concerned, I think that we need to support each other more, not as in just a repost, or like actually support, especially with business. I think that Black people are really hard on other Black people in business. A lot harder than other cultures are, and other cultures actually stick together more than Black people. I know people see it all the time and they post, you know, about how we need to stick together, but some people are overly critical. Like, perfect
quick
example,
to say, this is why I don't go to Black people.
That's the first thing that they're going to say. Like, perfect example, with us. We have a group, a young lady, Nicole Gordon. She's trying to, she owns Miracle Cleaning Company, and she's trying to compile all of the Black cleaners in Houston, because no one has said anything about the Black cleaners. Everybody, they have a group for Black restaurants, they have a group for, you know, Black business, but no one actually focused on like the Black cleaners. And the thing about it is, whereas you have some Black cleaners who are providing excellent services, you can miss one thing and people are just completely upset about it. Versus you calling Molly maids and you don't know them, you don't ask them any questions. They're gonna charge you off top over the phone. And you're gonna pay whatever they ask you. They send strangers to your house, and they may miss something and you won't say anything. But a Black cleaner, you'll be like, oh, she missed this right here. And oh, she better do this. And it's a whole posting. And all you had to do was say, you know what? I really would have liked it better if this was done. I don't feel like it was to my liking. And that owner should have been like, you know what? No problem. I'll come back. I'll fix it. You know, please let me. I want to appease you. I want your business. I think for me, my biggest thing is I'm quick to say, you know what? I'm sorry about that. Let me come back and correct it. I thank you for the opportunity for letting me come back and correct it. One of my VIP clients, I love him and his family. I actually posted about them yesterday. The first time he contacted us for business, one of the cleaners missed a spot on his tub. I went back and redid his tub. for 2 years, he won't even let anyone else clean his house. He want me to come to his house.
Yeah.
And it was like, he could have easily said, "Oh, I ain't fooling with black businesses no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this, and this." But he called me. He's like, "No, I want you to know what my expectation is, and I want you to know, what it is, so you can correct it."
Right.
And I appreciated him so much for that.
Yeah.
And to this day, I just cleaned their house last night.
That's what's up.
And his wife told me, she said, "I don't know who enjoys these cleans more, my husband or myself."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who enjoys it more, because I learn so much when I go there.
Yeah.
And while I'm cleaning, I'm talking to his wife, and she's giving so many jewels and so much encouragement. And he knows that when I come, his things are going to be organized and detailed, and I'm going to pay attention to the things that he likes, because now I know both parties. And I think that is a big thing, because nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to get it right all the time.
Nobody's perfect, yeah.
Nobody woke up and just said, "I'm going to build a business. It's going to be perfect today." Mm-hmm. So I think that, we should give each other a little bit more leeway when it comes to how we're speaking to each other and how we're supporting each other. And then it's just like a vice versa thing.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That's huge. That speaks to being the change you want to see, and it goes both sides, because, black businesses they expect to be criticized, right?
Yes.
But then, as the consumer, when I call you to my house, I expect you to be below the bar. So if we change that and we give better service, but then we also understand that people make mistakes and we just work together, then that's how we can become a lot better, Yes. And so it just makes so much sense. And that's what we don't see enough of, is us believing in each other and banding together and being that change we want to see. So it's so important that we do that. So I'm glad you said that. And to call crying shame, that's what I wanted you to say. Tell them to call you.
If we can't clean it, it's a crying shame.
It's a crying shame. So I know you're gonna take care of it, and that if there is something missed, you're more than willing to give it a second go around.
Definitely.
And compensate the people accordingly. And so Shantell, Shamika, she's on the cleaning side, or she was on the nonprofit side?
She's on the
nonprofit side. So shout out to you, for everything that you're doing and supporting.
On the nonprofit side.
Yeah. And I lost my thought on what I was going to say, but with how the movement is affecting us and the things that we can do in regards to that, something else that you said was banding together, right? So my thought on that is, I tell people all the time, is we have to buy in. That's the biggest part of it. It's not really something that we need to do, but it's that mental process and that mental thought is we have to just buy in, and you have to just say, if I make a change will be made. If you make a change, somebody else is going to make a change. What's your thoughts on that part?
I think that that's an excellent idea, simply because you actually have to change the environment of people around you in order for your mindset to shift. Like, I follow a lot of realtors. I follow a lot of project development people. So her name is Miss Tasha. I don't know Miss Tasha's last name, but Miss Tasha is they're doing like a big development project in Fifth Ward where Black people are buying it together, and they're buying up the property. And they're redoing the properties. Like, I follow Mr. Derek Bowles. He's a realtor. He has a whole team of excellent realtors, and they're constantly flipping properties and investing, and most of their clients are Black. So that's a big thing for us. Property never goes away,
right?
And no one can take from you what you've earned and what you own. That's definitely a thing. So I think that we need to be more involved in our properties, our businesses, our structures, in our actual community, because it's just like you letting another, like Asians come in and purchase a building and start up a store. Well, you, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, everybody could have gotten together and bought that store and could have had that business.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I think that once we need to have someone actually do it
right
first.
Right.
I think that once other people see people investing and people actually doing it, like the project what I told you about in Fifth Ward, I think that more people will want to get involved. And then you have some people, their mindset is just not going to change. They're just okay with just enough. Tricks. Yeah, they're okay with just enough. This was my grandma's house, and that's cool. Yeah, but can you pay your grandma property taxes? Because she spent her whole life paying for this house for you and your family,
and actually trying to give you something to
and
have.
You don't care, so you didn't pay the property taxes. So now a large developer came in, paid $300, and now they got your grandma's house.
It's crying shame.
It's definitely crying shame.
Yeah. So, definitely. And the thought just came back to me, excuse me, but it was when you were speaking on healthcare, and so shout out to everybody who got involved with the walk that I did on this past weekend for Father's Day. And so when you were talking about we have to basically educate ourselves, I want to let people know that you can go to my website still, www.dadchronicles.com, and click on the Walk for Life link. It's going to take you straight to a resource website. And, there's the 10 essential health checks that we should do as African-American men. And just as people as a whole, there's a tab for mentors. And then when you click on there, the first video you'll see is RIP to Kobe Bryant. Who's not going to look at that? He's going to talk about how he mentored Kyrie Irving. Then there's other real life men that talk about mentoring and why that's important. And then we have a whole host, which you spoke on, about the resources, the people that provide these mental health and wellness and self-care opportunities for you. So I made a post yesterday. I put it back up, and I don't want to hear any of my people saying they don't have the information, at least the people that are connected to me, because and shout out to Ms. Ronnie. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep pushing that Gabby Girl Graphics G3. But this young lady, she helped me put this website together. And when I tell you, it came to life in such a short time. So guys, y'all take advantage of it. Take your health care, take self-care. So important. It's your last days on the earth, because, it's just too important, and that's my step as a Black man. That's my step as helping my community. That's my step as being the change that I want to see, making it readily accessible for everybody to use. So, like I said in the post, the water is here. I can't make you drink it, but please just do it for yourself. Visit that website. It may be, of course, it's not going to be everything that you would need, but it's definitely a very strong website to give you the information that will start you on your journey. I guarantee you those 10 health checks may be something that after you watch the video, you're like, man, I didn't know it was like that, and so it's just so important, so just take the time to take a look at that. And, in closing, your last commercial for the day, tell the people how they can find you, give them your website, email, everything again.
You can find me on Facebook at Crime Shame Janitorial LLC. You can find me on Instagram at CS Janitorial. My phone number is 832-414-6005. And you can also book through Facebook, and you can also send a message or DM on Instagram.
Absolutely, man. It's been another amazing interview. I appreciate you for being here. Lastly, what I always do is what closing thoughts, anything. You've shared so much, you have to go back and watch this, because without saying it, you've given them, without directly saying this is what you need to do, you have given them so much from, why did you start your business? You thought about it, you planned, you got with someone, you talked it out, your motivation behind it being your mother and all these different things. And you are professional young lady in corporate America, I guess we could say. You started your own business, you have your own nonprofit, and then you just have a passion for giving back to people and being positive on top of all of that and dealing with your own stuff. So I salute you for that within itself. And so, just Ms. Shantell has given us a lot of nuggets that we can use in our day-to-day business, and understand that you have to be intentional. That's another thing. Yes. Be intentional and focus, and just plan things out. So let me be quiet. What do you want to leave them with? What would you?
Did such an
I know. I just wanted to recap right quick.
You did such an excellent job. I don't know what to add.
Just anything.
I would just
new or old.
Anything that worth having is worth fighting for. Follow your dreams, fight for it. Write out your passion, write out your dreams, and no matter what anyone tells you, go for it.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
You got to get started. If
Yeah.
you don't do anything, just get started.
Yeah. And I was talking about that too, man. I'll speak on that a little bit. I consider myself a doer, you know,
Yes.
and I think you are too. And it's like when you start something, you think about it, that thought comes, and then you just move, you know, and then you get organized as you go. And like I said, I've been blessed over these last few months with my nonprofit and what I got the whole vision. And I'm not spending 2 years trying to write out how I'm gonna do it. And you know, in some cases that's important, and you know, you also understand that you might leave out some things, but God, won't he do it? He's gonna make it to where if you're missing something, if you're focused on it, he's gonna make sure he takes care of you.
Always go back
and you can go and edit, and you can learn
things,
but just go do, you know what I'm saying? That's the main thing for me. So you know, with that being said, all the words you've spoken today have been good. And I'm gonna tease her a little bit. She was nervous before she got here, but you would never know that. You would never know that. You did a great job. So you know, I appreciate you joining me. And to all the listeners, again, Miss Shantell Coleman, Crime Shame Janitorial Service. Name the nonprofit again for me.
Inspiring the Better.
Inspiring the Better. I'm going to remember that. Inspiring the Better. If for my followers, if you know, familiar with Dad Chronicles, she's the female side of it. You know, I think y'all are doing pretty much the same thing. And that's just so important for our youth and raising up the next generation. So we appreciate you guys. This has been another episode of the Reach Podcast, where every show reaches beyond the ears of the listeners with our special guest, Miss Shantell Coleman. So we appreciate you guys listening in. Stay tuned, Dad Chronicles, www.dadchronicles.com. You can click on that website. We still have our seniors up. We don't want to forget about them. Shout out to all you graduates for 2020. And just my little, you know, salute to you guys. It's still up on the website. Like I said, we'll leave that up through the end of July. And the information for the Walk for Life website, I just call it a resource center, you know, and we have so many opportunities for you to learn about the health checks that you need to take. There's resources, there's sponsors on there that provide healthcare as well. And then shout out to Mo Better Boxing, man. We went there yesterday, me and my son. We're going to start up a mentor program. And Lewis Brown, I'll talk to you, man. There's just some things that have popped up. And like I said, I'm just a doer. So we're gonna get this thing going. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's see.